Hey y'all, hey. So if you're new here, my channel is all about owning it all: your life, your time, and your finances. And I'm Kay. You can call me Kay. I'm known as Chameleon Kay. I'm also known as Kay Patrice. And today we're talking about 5 ways that you can invest in real estate without actually dealing with the real estate itself. Also, these can be side hustles or things like that. Nobody talks about these ways. So let's get right into it. The first way that I'm going to talk about today is mortgage note investing. So with this method, you're buying the debt and the interest that is to be paid on the note going forward, and you're becoming the bank. So when they are paying their mortgage, the mortgage note, they're paying you the payment and the interest. The debt is secured by the asset, which is the house. So investors sell, flip, and collect on these notes all the time. The bank doesn't always, after someone gets a mortgage, the bank doesn't always just keep the mortgage. A lot of times they sell it. Some investors use them as a retirement vehicle because it creates cash flow and it creates, residual income. But if you don't understand what I'm saying, then let me explain further. You have performing notes and non-performing notes. Performing notes are mortgage notes where the homeowner is paying on time and regularly. They're caught up on their payments, but they come with a higher price tag. Non-performing notes are the notes that the homeowner is behind on, and of course it doesn't cost as much because at the time of purchase it isn't bringing in any money anyway. But there are perks to buying both. You can buy a non-performing note, work something out with the homeowner where they can bring their mortgage current. Something such as a loan modification, amongst other options. There are other options. And if you aren't able to work out something with them, then unfortunately you would have to foreclose on them. Foreclosing on someone because they either aren't cooperative or you aren't able to work something out with them otherwise, and you've exhausted all options such as cash for keys or something like that, then this is also a backdoor or a cheaper way to acquire a property if that is one of your goals, to actually deal with the property or have physical property of your own. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be in your state, but you do need to know the laws that are associated with each state when it comes to mortgage notes. You do need to know the law, the time frames on foreclosing and things like that. You can buy first lien mortgages or second lien mortgages, also known as senior liens and junior liens. Both have equivalent rights as far as working something out with them or the option to foreclose on them as well. Second lien mortgages tend to cost less than first lien mortgages because think the second lien is the one that's taken out to maybe renovate the property, or I don't know if they're looking to they just taking equity out of their home, so naturally it isn't as much as the first mortgage, which is when they bought the house. What's owed on the second lien mortgage is considerably less, most of the time. Second lien mortgages can also lead to big paydays though. So if a homeowner decides that, let's say they are paying their first mortgage on time, but they only fell behind on their second lien mortgage, right? Let's just use that example. And they decide, well, I don't want to you reach out, you bought the note, right? You bought the second lien mortgage note. You reach out to try to work something out, and the homeowner decides that I don't want to pay 2 payments on my house, right? They can always just refinance it, and then that leads to a big lump sum payment to you because you bought the debt. So you are the one that is going to get paid if they were to refinance it into one payment. Okay, so it does have its perks. it may not be as much as far as a regular payment, as much as a first lien mortgage would be. However, it has its perks as well, and you can buy it for less. So if you're starting a little bit smaller, then this may be the way to go for you. You can also flip mortgage notes. So just like you can flip houses, you can flip mortgage notes. And just for an example, let's say you bought a mortgage note for $2,000, right? It was non-performing. Let's just say you bought a non-performing note for $2,000. You work something out with the homeowner. The homeowner is now paying it on time for 6 to 12 months. It's now a performing note. You turn that non-performing note into a performing note. And now you can actually resell that note or flip that note and sell it as a performing note. So then you can turn around and sell that note for $20,000 and pocket an $18,000 profit plus whatever you were paid in, interest and payments, interest and principal, whatever, as far as for those 6 to 12 months. The $18,000 difference plus whatever you were paid during those 6 to 12 months. Next, I'm going to talk about overage investing or tax deed surplus funds. This occurs when a property is sold at a tax sale, and an overage is when the amount that is paid for that property exceeds the minimum amount. Okay, so let's say they were only selling it for $10,000 and somebody actually bought it for $40,000. So then you have a $30,000 overage. Get it? Got it? The owner of record is entitled to the overage amount for a redemption period. Each state is different, so it varies, and whatever states, if you decide to do this, you decide to invest in, you need to look at those specific laws in that state. If the owner never comes forward, then the state keeps the money. All states don't collect overages or overages that would be worth your time. So make sure that you have knowledge on what state you're going to be investing in. And just make sure you do your homework. Creditors' judgments, even the IRS, have a certain amount of time to come forward for any monies that may be owed to them. So if they don't come forward, then they don't get paid. And this is basically for any debts that the original property owner may have, had. So if they don't come forward, then it's free game for the owner of record. If they do come forward, then the owner is entitled to whatever's left of the overage amount. After that, after the creditor's judgment, whoever they owe gets their money if they come forward for it, right? So if they don't, then they get all. But most owners don't know this, and this is where you come in. So you create a business. Now you need to look legit, especially when you're reaching out to people about money that's owed to them. You know how scammy that can sound. So you need to be prepared. You need to have a website. You need to have your contracts in order. If the states that you're investing in aren't in the state that you're in, then you need to have you will have representatives to meet with these people to get the contract signed and things like that. Next, you would reach out to the original owner of record, and you would let them know that the state has money that is owed to them or that they're entitled to, and then you would then let them know that in exchange for a percentage of what is owed to them, you'll deal with the paperwork, you'll file for it, you'll pretty much handle the process. So you would get them their money, and what I've seen is typically you would get paid about 30%. Don't quote me, because people do have different prices that they charge. But each state, I believe, has a cap for what people can be paid. And that depends. Like, everything is like by state. So just know when choosing what states you want to invest in, know what you're dealing with. But some of these amounts can exceed hundreds of thousands of dollars, and even I've seen millions of dollars at times. So it can be worth it. So after you or your representative meets up with the owner of record, you would get a contractual agreement that states how much you will get paid when you collect the money. They'll also sign something saying that you are their representative or their power of attorney. Those contracts then give you the right to collect the checks, collect your money. There we go. You would then apply for the funds on behalf of the owner after approximately waiting about 120 days. And again, that is state specific. That gives claimants, enough time to come forward and for any liens that may have been on the property to clear. Next, we're going to talk about REITs, or real estate investment trusts. These are dividend paying stocks. It gives you the opportunity to invest in companies that own commercial real estate, such as shopping malls, office buildings, shopping centers, things like that, or a person with not a lot of money wouldn't typically have access to. They usually pay high dividends, about 90%, to avoid paying corporate income taxes. Some are publicly traded and some aren't. Some platforms require you to be an accredited investor, while others don't. Some are equity REITs, which is what I just went over. But then you have other ones that focus on mortgage REITs, which are the financing of real estate or mortgage-backed securities. So pay attention to which one you're investing in if you choose to go this direction. Next, we're going to talk about REIGs, or real estate investment groups. This is a way to own rentals but not necessarily deal with the headache that comes with it. So the way this works is this method does require financing and capital. The group buys or they build rental property, and then they allow you as an investor to buy or purchase them through the company, and then that's how you become a part of the group. The company manages everything from vacancies to tenant screening to maintenance in exchange for a percentage of the rent. All the units put a portion of the rent aside in the event that someone has a vacancy. And as long as the vacancy rate as a whole doesn't get too high, then 1 or 2 vacancies should be covered, or the expenses of the vacancy should be covered. I'm sorry, hold on real quick. 1 second. Did you subscribe? Cause I know you're not sitting up here soaking up all this goodness and you didn't subscribe. So I'm gonna wait. I know we got time. Oh, okay. Next, we're gonna talk about wholesaling, and I do have 2 bonuses at the end, so stay to the end. But next, we're gonna talk about wholesaling. Okay, so wholesaling. This is when you find let's say it can be a distressed seller, it can be just somebody who's looking to get out of a property ASAP, maybe due to unforeseen circumstances. They don't want to go the traditional route. They don't want to fix up the house. They don't want to go through the process of selling it, putting it on the market, and everything that goes with a traditional sale. So you would then come in and say, okay, I'll find you a cash buyer. You would get them under contract in a way that would allow you to then reassign that contract to an investor. Okay, so you would say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, right? They are looking to just get out of the house. Say they don't even care. They just want out. Cash is great, and you would find, then you would get the contract, make sure that you're able to reassign it. You would then reassign it to an investor who's willing to buy it below market value, and they would actually be willing to buy it cash. You would then find the investor and then sell them the contract for a disclosed or undisclosed amount. That's up to you. So you may get the original seller under contract for $40,000, right? But then you turn around and you sell that same contract to an investor for $55,000, and you then would collect the $15,000. So you're just like the middleman. So you would collect the $15,000. You can get paid at settlement, or you can get paid before settlement. However you choose. It's called a double close, or you could just get paid at settlement. It depends on how comfortable you are with that investor seeing what you made off of the contract. But the property is never put in your name at all. You will need to know the ARV, or after repair value of the property, in order to sell it to the investor. And you need to have an idea of how much it would cost to, just an idea of how much it would cost to fix it up, because they need to know, they need to have an idea of what they're getting into. And a lot of times these investors aren't even in the same state. So pictures can help you. Even maybe a video of the the property can help you in some in a lot of instances. And this is kind of what will help you sell the contract. You should also be prepared to put something down as an EMD, or an earnest money deposit, to show that seller that you're serious. It doesn't have to be much, but you should be prepared to put something down. And again, you would either do a double close, or you collect your money at settlement. And I have 2 bonuses. So bonus 1, you can invest in a REIT ETF, which is something that I didn't go over. And that is where you don't have to choose one. You can just like kind of invest in a group of REITs with that are under one portfolio. And that's what a real estate ETF is. Bonus 2 is you can invest in real estate crowdfunding. This is where an experienced real estate developer will identify an opportunity that they either want to flip and sell or refinance. Then they raise some or most of the capital for it from investors like you in exchange for equity interest in the project. My camera died. But if you like that video and you want to see more videos about owning it all, owning your time, owning your life, or owning your finances, then subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Peace.